Boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Better Call Sexton. Before we begin, remember to hit like, subscribe, notification bell, all those wonderful things. Find out when we post new episodes. It really does help the channel. We have got a action-packed docket for you today. Holly Peete sends some spicy texts and receives some very, very bad press for it. Nick Cannon makes some insane statements about his 12, yes, I said 12 children. The Astronomer CEO is back in the headlines, and man, this guy should just hire me at this point. Couples therapy stars get real in a recent interview. All of that and more on today's Better Call Sexton. Let's get after it.
So we've got a reel for you right here. Love to get your take on
You're
this.
just starting out right with the reels. We're dumping right into this, man. There's no foreplay at all. Just jamming it right in. All right.
Well, at least it's not TikTok.
It's not that much better than TikTok. It's like their version of TikTok. All right, here we go.
I'm just curious, how much therapy did your son need after you sent a sexy photo of yourself to him instead of your husband? Because that sounds like a lot. It sounds like you're still paying for that therapy.
Well, thank God it was the one with autism.
I'm dead.
I'm done. Oh my God, that was
had I
amazing.
sent it to that middle boy would have been like, Mom, I can't unsee that. Because I could kind of explain it away to RJ. So what had happened was I was sending a sexy little something to my husband. It was just like, a little picture. I was just turning around and, just showing him a little booty. And unfortunately, they have the same name. And it's too close in my contact, which was my
Holly
fault.
Peete.
And so I clicked the wrong one. And then I was like, God,
Sorry.
You should no. Come on now. So I called him. I was like, "You didn't say anything." He goes, "About what?" And I was like, "Oh." And that's when I saw
that's a
that
rough
I sent it to
moment.
RJ, and he goes, "Mom, why'd you send me a picture of your butt?" And I was like, "Oh, you know what? I meant to send that to Dad." He goes, "Well, why would you send Dad a picture of your butt?" I said,
Oh my God, I love
"Well,
it.
because
Does this look infected to you?"
I thought I had like a little something was on it, and I
There
needed
you go.
Dad to look.
Holly,
'cause
you're a
I might go
lawyer.
to the hospital later. Like I was coming up with anything I could. And he was
Holly,
like,
that's
"You
a good
bought it."
one.
He was like, "Okay."
I love
Plausible deniability, Holly. I mean, first I gotta say at the start of this, Holly, 21 Jump Street. She has not aged a day. Oh my God. They mean it when they say black don't crack. I mean, she looks fantastic. I don't know what's going on there. She's not aging. She looks amazing. Second of all, Holly Peete sending butt pics to the hubby. This is like, I love this. I love this story. I have to tell you, the divorce lawyer in me just loves the fact that you got this happily married couple with a bunch of kids, one of whom's got autism, and you're sending butt pics to your husband in the middle of the day. I applaud you. This is fantastic. Like, this is a great, great thing. So first of all, applaud you for that. But, oh man, that's a rough couple of moments when you realize, oh boy, I sent that to the wrong person. We've all been there, maybe not with butt pics, but we've all been there where we sent that. I have more than once sent a text to a colleague that ended with love you because I thought I was texting one of my sons, and I like to end with love you. And very often they'll laugh and text back and go, well, I have strong feelings for you, but I wouldn't call it love or whatever it might be. I think that is a very modern problem. I think she recovered well from it. I think what we learned from this is that Holly Peete would be an excellent attorney because in her cross-examination by her son, why did you send that picture to me and why were you sending Dad a picture of your butt? She's like, oh, I thought I might have had something I need to go to the doctor about. There will be a day where her son will probably think that's a hilarious story when he's actually an adult and has recovered from the trauma of it. I think it was much more traumatic for her. Thank God it wasn't like a action video or something like that. But again, gang, just be careful out there, man. The stuff that we're sending out to people, it goes out into the world and you accidentally hit the wrong contact. I can tell you as a guy who has a father named Noah and a son named Noah, thankfully I've never sent any of them spicy pictures, but I have occasionally meant to text one and texted the other accidentally because they're close to each other in my phone. This is a very modern problem, but I think the moral of this story is Holly Peete, still super attractive. Holly Peete, married and still sending butt pics to her husband. I think this is a win for Holly Peete. I'm going to go 5 stars, Holly Peete. You go, girl.
So you've talked before about various divorces and about how...
Yeah, once or twice. It's come up now and again.
Right, right. No, so you've talked about nudes being sent in relationships, how this can both be a beneficial thing, like you said famously in that one clip, that it's like flowers for men, and you said that it caused the downfall of many relationships, such as it showing up on the family iPad or things like this. What is your general take on the situation of sending nudes, of sending explicit texts, of having that sort of permanent evidence within a person's phone? What's the general lawyer's take on it?
You know, my lawyer advice and my human advice are two different things. That's not an uncommon sensation for me. The advice I would give someone as counsel unequivocally would be do not have those things on your phone, period. Don't have it there. There are security issues. There's issues regarding your future and that you may regret that you have that or have sent it to someone else. It can be intercepted the wrong ways. There's all kinds of things. From a lawyering perspective, there is almost no benefit to it. From a human perspective, I don't know. I think there's not a lot of harm in that. I think it's one of the fun things about technology is people get to use it in ways to turn each other on, whether it's dirty talk or photos or things like that. I mean, that's people's love language. I think as a man, I can certainly say, and as a man who's friends with a lot of men, we're very visual. I think that it's something that we enjoy is looking at someone we love who's our object of desire and seeing their body. I think that's very good. I think particularly when people are in relationship and married or in a monogamous situation and they're still taking the time to turn each other on, I don't know. I think that that's a recipe for keeping you out of my office. So the human advice I would give to people is knock yourself out. If it turns your partner on and it turns you on or whatever to send it, or even if it's totally benign to you, but it makes them happy, listen, this game is supposed to be that we make each other happy. We find what pleases the other person and we do the best job we can to give it to them in a way that doesn't betray our core ideals and puts their happiness as a priority, especially to the extent that it doesn't conflict with our own happiness and dignity and autonomy and agency. But, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What I would say is, though, it's like a lot of great pleasures in life. It's wonderful. It's fun. But it's dangerous, so take it seriously. There's lots and lots of things in the world that are lots of fun and probably worth doing, but take it seriously. As a divorce lawyer for 25 years with the divorce rate at 56%, I tell people all the time, get married, knock yourself out, get a prenup, trustedprenup.com, shameless plug. But get in there, get married. It's like the lottery. You're probably not going to win. You're probably going to get divorced statistically, but I hope you don't. Because if you win, what you win, it's like winning the lottery. It's the greatest prize. It's phenomenal to find someone you're deeply compatible with and have a wonderful life in a deep bonded relationship with them. Phenomenal. It's a great thing. But man, it's dangerous. So take it seriously. Just take dangerous things seriously. Sending nudes can be a wonderful thing. It can also be a dangerous thing. So act accordingly.
So we have a very interesting article here that we would love to hear your take on. Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon single-handedly repopulating the United States, solving...
I don't even know how we should introduce him. Wildin' Out host, Drumline star. I mean, the guy, he's had a long career.
I mean, he's just Nick Cannon. It needs no other introduction. It's like Bono. He doesn't even need a last name. You know what I mean? You just go... I mean, Nick Cannon needs a last name because if people are like Nick, you're going to be like, who? Like Nick Jonas? Like, which Nick are you talking about? Nickelodeon? But yeah, no, Nick Cannon. People know Nick Cannon from what Nick Cannon is. I have to tell you, I think most people know Nick Cannon now as that dude who wears a turban a lot of the time and has a gabillion kids. I think that's how a lot of people know him now.
So I'm glad you said that. So in a recent, and also turban-clad, interview with The Breakfast Club, Nick Cannon got very raw and honest about what drove him to father his famous dozen children by 6 baby mamas. He said, quote, "If I would have done the work and the healing after getting divorced, I probably would have took my time. But for whatever reason, I thought there was the answer a lot of times, like, oh, I'm going to figure it out over here. Now you're leaving trauma every step of the way instead of fixing it from its origin," effectively saying that him having children, each child was a way of him attempting to deal with the trauma very ineffectively. The trauma being his fame, his divorce from Mariah Carey, things that happened in his life. What do we think about that?
Somebody's been in therapy. I'm proud of you, Nick. I got to tell you, I'm proud of you. That is a dude who's been in therapy. That's a guy who is like, okay, I want to get to the bottom of some of this stuff. And he's looking back on his life, it sounds like, and he's saying, hey, this is what motivated some of those decisions. He's getting a lot of criticism that I think is actually very unfair criticism for saying this. I think it's very insightful, actually, what he had to say. I think that almost anyone can acknowledge maybe unless you're a Hasidic Jewish person, that having 12 children is something of an aberration. Having them with 6 different women, even if you were a Hasidic Jew who had lots and lots of children because it's a mandate from God, I think that you would still say, wow, with 6 different women, that's a lot of baby mamas. Now, look, Nick Cannon's got a lot of money, so he can afford to have lots of babies, just like Elon Musk. Leave the guy alone. If he wants to have babies with everybody, he can afford it. But I applaud Nick for the fact that he's saying, hey, maybe I thought that those kids were like filling a hole in me and I wasn't really doing the work and I was just trying to sort of, balm my pain by the joy of having a child or the high that you get when a baby is born or the feeling that you are, contributing to your immortality in a sense by having children. I think there's a lot of reasons why people have children, some good, some bad, some ill-advised, some well-placed. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, hey, the circumstances under which I had these kids might not have been motivated by the best things. That's not the same thing as saying, I wish I hadn't had these kids. A lot of people are parsing this like that's what Nick Cannon was saying here. I don't think he was saying that at all. I think what he was saying is, I realized that the part of me that thought I was going to feel a particular thing was, I was trying to use having kids as a narcotic. And we've all done things like that. I have often said work is my favorite narcotic. Again, I don't regret the fact that I'm as successful as I am, that I've built the career that I've built. I'm really glad. It's brought a lot of joy to my life. It's brought a lot of money to my life. It's brought a lot of security to the people that I love. But did I work way, way more because I was trying to run from my feelings at different chapters in my life? Hell yeah. I'm good in a courtroom because I know exactly what to do and exactly what's expected of me. I have had chapters of my life where I was incredibly uncomfortable in my own skin when I wasn't in a courtroom. So it was normal for me to rush back into the courtroom and rush back into the office because I felt comfortable there. That's a narcotic. Addiction is really anything you do to get away from what you would have been feeling if you'd done nothing at all. And for Nick Cannon, it sounds like maybe through his own therapy, he's recognized that, yeah, I was having kids because there is a glow and a joy to having children and having a new relationship with a different partner and having the experience of having a child with this different person. And I think it's very insightful that he's saying, because again, sometimes really beautiful fruit can grow from seeds that weren't the healthiest seeds. I don't think this is a betrayal of his children at all. I think he's being very open and candid, which is why I think this is probably a function of some introspection and probably some therapy, which go for it, Nick. God bless, man. I think that more people and certainly more men need to be able to A, normalize therapy and B, use therapy in a real and productive way. Therapy's coming under a lot of criticism right now, especially from some of the voices on the right saying that like, oh, it's just a whining fest. Matt Walsh, who I frequently disagree with, but like very much as a human being. Matt, has a lot of negative things to say about therapy, saying that most of the time it's kind of a waste of time. I think he has a point in the sense that Rogerian unconditional positive regard therapy, where you just go in and say whatever, you're doing and the person just goes, oh, that's great. That could be replaced by ChatGPT. Woody Allen was, in therapy like 7 days a week for how many years and then married basically his daughter. That's kind of an odd reality. And I don't know that you're getting the best therapy if that's where it leads you. But I think when somebody's doing the work, like it sounds like Nick is doing, and trying to sort of unflinchingly and with real bravery saying like, yeah, I was kind of misguided in my motivation for these things. That's how you're going to learn how to do it differently in the future. It's how you're going to become a better parent who's going to help hopefully guide his children, some of whom are boys, to, approach fatherhood maybe in a different way than he did. I think it's a really, really good thing. I think one of the things that's going to help our world is if more people normalize therapy and they do the work of therapy. The purpose of therapy is to be uncomfortable. You have to get disoriented to get reoriented. And that is a very hard thing to do, but it's a very worthwhile thing to do, I think.
So we have a very fascinating article here from Fox Business concerning our favorite, seems to be a repeat on the show, the Astronomer CEO.
I love that literally no one, I've done 3 segments on this guy and I don't know his name. Everybody just knows him as the Astronomer CEO. And I think most people too, if it wasn't for Gwyneth Paltrow, would have no idea what Astronomer, the company, even does. And by the way, are we allowed to call him the Astronomer CEO? I think he's the former Astronomer CEO. So, because I think they bounced him, right, from the company. So I can't, what's going on with him now?
Well, very interesting statement from Misty Maris, a trial attorney and legal analyst for Fox Business, as well as Meeta Malik, a workplace strategist. Both of these experts propose that potentially corporations could start implementing love contracts.
Oh, for God's sake.
Written out policies signed by both parties. I mean,
this is why people hate lawyers. This is why people hate lawyers.
Are we gonna see a trusted prenup, love contract, workplace romance?
No, we're not going to see that. We're not going to see that. This is real life. This is not a Chappelle Show sketch. The love contract. No, I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to have employees sign contracts that they're not going to sleep with each other? Knock yourself out, guys. Like that's not worth the paper it's printed on. Look. Most states are no-fault states in terms of at-will employment, essentially. You can fire people because they're having sex with each other on the copying machine after hours, or you can fire them for absolutely no reason at all, and doesn't really change what their rights or obligations are. I think you're just inviting employment discrimination lawsuits if people are being penalized for having consensual adult relationships. I'm not a huge fan of adultery, but I will certainly say that people have the right to engage in it and have been engaging in it for a super, super long time. And I don't think the fact that it's against the rules, even if you're talking about rules like the 10 Commandments, I think that it does not dissuade people from doing it. I'm always deferring to what Russell Brand said about his time being an opiate addict, where he said not once in the history of his addiction while he was an addict did he stop and go, I'm going to shoot some heroin. Oh, wait. Heroin's illegal. That just doesn't enter into anyone's mindset. Like, people do not trust me. I've spent a lot of time in rooms with people who commit adultery. I have something of a PhD in adultery, being a divorce lawyer for 25 years. And I will tell you, the fact that you signed a piece of paper that says that you weren't going to sleep with people that you work with, or that you're not going to cheat on your spouse, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It's an absolute waste of time. All it's going to do is just create more work for attorneys in trying to draft a contract that sounds like it's something that's legally binding and useful. It's not going to change human behavior one little bit. There's no way that two people that are interested in each other in the workforce and that spend time together in that close proximity and that they're all doped up on, endorphins for each other, that they're gonna, pheromones and all those other hopped up, chemicals within us. You think that those people are going to be disabused of those feelings based on the fact that they signed a piece of paper? You are deluded if you believe that to be correct. So, Astronomer CEO, I don't think a contract would have saved you. I don't think that you'd been any better or worse of a position than the one that he's in if that had happened. And I don't care what legal experts say about it. I think that this is just a way to get another 5 minutes of press time out of this ridiculous story.
So we're not looking to reach out, maybe be his legal counsel.
No, I've got a full plate right now. I got a full docket right now. I actually just turned away two very interesting cases that would have been very lucrative that I probably, in the past would have absolutely taken on, but I'm at sort of max capacity bandwidth wise right now, which is why I look so exhausted and my tie's undone. This week has been like one long day where I changed clothes.
Damn. So, interesting piece from the reality TV world, a world that I know you're a very big fan of.
And a true aficionado. It's not true. That's sarcasm.
So did you watch Couples Therapy? Did you watch the show?
I didn't watch it. I tried to watch it. I watched a few minutes of it. And I went, oh yeah, this is this is probably the only thing worse than being in couples therapy would be watching couples therapy. I can't. After a long day of looking at the discord in people's relationships, coming home, sitting down and saying, you know what I'd like to do right now? Watch people's romantic foibles and difficulty. That is the last thing I would watch. I am watching I Think You Should Leave over and over again. I'm watching old episodes of Veep. I'm watching Stath Let's Flats, the greatest television show in the history of the world. I'm watching over and over the same episodes of What We Do in the Shadows. I'm watching The Office, old episodes of The Office, not that weird abomination that's just come out now. But no, I'm not watching The Real Housewives of Anywhere, and I'm not watching couples therapy.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'll give you a little background then. So one of the couples, Jessica Cole and novelist Boris Fishman, became quite popular, kind of being portrayed as the deeply problematic couple, with Boris being proposed as this sort of the villain of the season.
He's got the name for it, Boris the villain. You're not like, how's Boris?
He kind of looks it too.
Boris,
He kind of looks too. He's bald. Yeah. He's a large dude. So
Boris.
He kind of gets posed as the villain of the series. People not a big fan of him. Turns out though, and this is according to both Boris and Jessica, that a lot of what happened on camera was without context, and they feel that this...
Oh my God, this old trope. It was the editing. It was the editing. Yeah, I got it.
Well, they both say and claim to The Guardian here in this article that they feel as if the whole experience, which only went on for 4 episodes, but their scenes were stretched across the whole season, they feel as if it was damaging to their marriage and now are seeking private, non-reality TV couples therapy.
And I'm willing to bet they're going to be seeking compensation. I'm willing to bet there's a civil lawsuit that they're preparing for themselves about unintentional emotional distress or intentional infliction of emotional distress. And, my neck and my back hurt as a result of the fact that they edited my segments poorly. Yeah, look, I've represented a number of people that are on reality TV, all of whom will remain nameless currently. But if you Google it, you'll find a few of them. I got to tell you, they all say the same thing. Whenever they look bad, it was the editing. Whenever they look good, it's their genuine personality. It doesn't work that way, gang. Sorry. Like if you are who you are to some degree in front of the camera, editing can only do so much. Makeup can do a lot, but it can only do so much. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. So I think this is a situation where, these people are probably regretting the fact that they exposed so much of themselves on television and that they exposed such intimacies on television. And now one or both of them have been vilified in different ways. So now they feel they have to okay, we got to figure out a way to sort of back out of this. And this is a very common trope. It happens all the time. I love all the Housewives reunion. I wouldn't watch the season, but I'd watch the reunion because the reunion is just like a cope fest like you wouldn't believe, where they all sit there and are like, hi, Andy. Well, that was a very difficult moment for me. And they really just try to excuse their atrocious behavior that got captured on film. I get it, gang. We all have moments that we look at and go, man, that wasn't my best self. That's why you shouldn't have a camera crew following you around all the time, because they're going to capture some of those moments. And guess what? Those are some of the most interesting moments. Those moments when you're just sort of walking around living your life. Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody wants to watch that. It's as boring as their lives. And the reason why they're watching you is because you're supposed to be interesting. So yes, editing, they exacerbate and clip together the most interesting pieces of things. But it's shit people said, man. It's not generative AI. This is what people actually said and things they actually did. So I don't care it was taken out of context. It's something you said. And trust me, I'm a guy who weaponizes people's words. I'm a guy who deliberately takes things out of context to create red herrings or to weaponize something that someone said or to create some defense based on some snippet of what someone said. Truth has a way of coming out, sometimes despite my best efforts, but it has a way of coming out. So I think it's great that they're actually in couples counseling that doesn't involve a camera. I think that probably the best couples counseling doesn't involve a camera crew or lighting. It probably is the kind of thing that you should do in private with a licensed professional. I think that's just a good idea. I can't tell you how many reality shows I've been offered. I am offered, it feels like I'm offered a reality show only as often as I'm offered a warranty for my vehicle, or only as often as I get emails from a Nigerian prince who wants my bank information so that he can send me lots of money, which, by the way, turns out is totally not true.
I told you, listen, I know that was a big part of our budget for the production, but we're going to get it back.
That's a problem. I'm telling you. We've lost most of it, and it's pretty upsetting, I have to tell you. If you can't trust a Nigerian prince by email, who can you trust in this world? But yeah, look, I think that this is this is the reality of letting yourself be exposed on camera in that way. And I don't think that it's a healthy thing to do. I think couples counseling is good, but I think it should not be done in front of a camera. Living your life in front of a camera is a dangerous way to be unless you're ready to have your words thrown back at you. And that's from someone who throws words at people and who's saying words into a camera right now that will probably get thrown back at me at some point. I'm okay with that. Gang, it's time for a viewer submission. Remember to go to sextonshow.com and send us your love mail, your hate mail, your nudes, tasteful or otherwise. Just kidding. Don't send us nudes. I mean, maybe, no, don't send us nudes. This is terrible because he's the one who's saying it. And even though he's an adult, he's still my kid. And that's kind of weird.
And you guys have done it a couple times, unfortunately.
Are they really? Male or female or both?
Both.
Wow.
Fair amount of both.
Oh, that's kind of flattering though. You know what I mean? That I've got like a broad client. Listen, I'm past 50. Like anybody who's trying to say that I'm a desirable romantic partner, I'm flattered. I have to tell you, that's lovely because I am way past my prime. Okay, so we've got your viewer submission here. Let's see what it is. Any tips with blending families? Me and my boyfriend are both divorced, and we each have a child from prior marriages. Kids are in grade school, and we both have 50% physical custody. I'm extremely nervous to go through this process. What are your thoughts? Thank you for this submission. This is a real issue, and it's something that I'm glad you're asking for help with. What I will tell you is I've spent a lot of time with people who are in blended families, whether it is my clients who are divorced and have post-judgment things and they've since remarried and often remarried someone else who is divorced and has children. I think there's a lot of value in that because even though it adds complicated elements, meaning both of you have exes, both of you have children by prior relationships, both of you have custodial rotations that you have to work around, that adds some disparate elements, but it also adds a tremendous amount of commonality. The fact that you both have the experience of being parents, you both have had the experience of being divorced. You both, have some of the same concerns and life experience. I think that can be a really amazing synergy for people. But I think you're right to say it requires a certain level of attention, and you have to acknowledge that this is a unique set of circumstances that you have. So right off the bat, I would say to you, you're already off to a good start because you're acknowledging that this is something you should be paying attention to, that it requires unique tools and it requires you to notice what's happening there. So how do you develop those tools? Number one, communication with your partner. You should talk to each other honestly, talk to each other in a way that respects the relationship, but also acknowledges where your priorities lie in terms of your relationship with your now new partner, your relationship with your ex, your co-parent, and your relationship with your children. You don't have to quantify and put people in a pecking order, but you want to make very clear that, hey, it's a priority to me that I have a good relationship with you, my new romantic partner. It's also important to me that I have a good relationship with my co-parent, or if I have a bad relationship with my co-parent, that toxicity doesn't impact negatively our relationship. It's also really important to me that I be a good parent to my children, and that I have a good relationship with my children, and that they feel like they are a priority and that they're not taking a back seat to you as my romantic partner. These are all conversations worth having, checking in with each other about how you're doing that. Maybe invest in having a professional involved. I think in a perfect world where therapy was free, you'd each have your own individual therapist, and then maybe you'd have like a couples counseling space where the two of you can talk. Do you have to have that kind of formal stuff? You don't necessarily. Maybe you take a walk and talk once a week away from the kids where the two of you give each other some space to have honest conversations about how you're feeling. I think a great entry point for couples is always talking about what did a person do right this week and say, hey, when did you feel loved by me this week? When did you feel like I was a good mom or a good dad this week? And when did you feel that I could have done something different or better? And hearing it not from a place of criticism, but trying to hear it from a place of love for the relationship and for each other, and a desire to have that relationship improve and to continue or maintain its good quality or even get better. I think that when you invite that kind of dialogue in a routine, predictable way, in a setting that is decided just for that. Again, it can be on a walk. It can be an email that you send each other once a week if you don't want to discuss it directly. It can be anything. It can be when the kids go back to their respective co-parents. It can be when the kids go to sleep and they're all in the home. It can be anything. It's really whatever. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's no one size fits all approach, but just taking seriously that you're adding additional elements into this ecosystem. Relationships are an ecosystem. As I've said before, when you add lizards to the forest, you don't have the same old forest plus lizards. You got a whole different forest because the lizards eat the branches and the branches are where the insect used to live, and the insect that now doesn't have a branch to live on dies, and that's what this bug used to eat. And now we have a whole different ecosystem. When you marry someone who has children, who's divorced and has children, and you're divorced and you have children, there's a lot of elements in that ecosystem. That is not to say you shouldn't do it. Some of the most beautiful, wonderful ecosystems in the world have lots of diverse elements in them. And I know a lot of people that have blended families that have done a phenomenal job. And that family, like America, is better and better because of the harmonious nature of how that ecosystem works and all those different elements. E pluribus unum, from many, one. But, like America, man, it can go wrong. It can go wrong. And that diversity can go really badly if you don't handle it the right way. Those diverse elements within the ecosystem can start eating each other and attacking each other and blaming each other for things, whether it's a family or a country. So just take it seriously. Be honest with yourself and each other about where it's working, where it's not, where there need to be tweaks and improvements. Be respectful of another person's opinion on those things. Support people's right to be honest with each other, free from the threat of anger anger and violence within the context of a relationship or within the context of a society. So I think it's just a good thing that you're taking it seriously. It's a good thing that you're asking for help. There are probably more qualified people than me to give you direct advice about that, but I've spent a lot of time with people that are in blended families. I've seen when it doesn't work, and there are times where it doesn't work because the strain of the disparate elements in that ecosystem. If you have a very toxic relationship with your ex, for example, and this other person has a harmonious relationship, sometimes that can be good because it's one less toxic element, and sometimes it can be very hard for a person who has a good relationship with their ex to navigate someone who has a relationship that's very bad and toxic with their ex in terms of co-parenting. Just be gentle with yourselves, be gentle with each other, communicate with each other. Remember, you've both got kids, and those kids are going to develop their own relationships with each other, and you have a lot riding on this situation, because if your children become connected to each other or to their step parent, that can be a bond that is hard for them to break, and your children are already coming from divorced households, so they're already going to have some issues that arise from that. So again, just be gentle with yourselves, be gentle with each other, create an atmosphere where you, your partner, your co-parents, your children can express themselves in some healthy ways and just make adjustments where needed. You can't control the wind, but you can move your sails around, and that's a good thing. It's time for a Sexton-ism. These are, for those of you who are new to the show, these are things that I say so frequently to clients that my staff laughs and often writes them down because I say them so often. Not because I just repeat my material, which is true, but partly because they're the best wisdom that I've heard from other people, or that I've sort of the best way of phrasing something that I've come up with. Today's is, the only life path is the one behind you. I have clients who really have choice paralysis all the time. They're constantly thinking about the path. They're constantly thinking about what they should do, whether it's in their case or in their life or in their relationships. And people think that there is some correct path and that they're supposed to follow that path. And if things aren't going the way they anticipated them to go, they must have taken a wrong turn. The only life path is the one that's behind you. Everything else is just choices. It's just moving through space. It's just moving through the day to day. And again, if you have one eye fixed on your destination, you only have one with which to see the way. So there's really value in just making the journey the destination. Like, I think there's value in having an end to work toward, but it's really the journey that matters in the end. Your life path in retrospect will make a lot more sense than it does when you're walking through it. I will say, I have reached wonderful places in my personal and professional life that while I was moving in the ways that I needed to move to get to them, very few of them made sense. And a lot of people who really cared about me went, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm glad I didn't listen to those people, as well-intentioned as they were, because in retrospect, I look back and go, oh yeah, every one of those steps led me right to where I am right now. And if where I am right now is a good place to be and a happy place to be, then there was no such thing as a wrong step. Every single thing, even if it hurt, was leading me to this, that sometimes that pain is excruciating but necessary. So remember, the only real life path is the one that's behind you. Focus on moving forward and keep moving forward. Gang, that's going to do it. We are adjourned for Better Call Sexton today. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those wonderful things that helps the channels, and we will see you again soon.